Diablo II Resurrected has announced a lot of upgrades and changes, but not all that glitters is gold. In a previous video, Dash discussed the upgrades coming with the remaster, but today, I wanted to take a more subjective approach to a few of the features and open up a conversation, so let's jump right into this. Here are 5 pros and cons of Diablo II Resurrected.
Not even death can save you from me.
Of course, be sure to stay for the whole discussion and consider dropping a like at the end, lest the algorithm Hydra favors forces of the Burning Hells. Graphics. Right off the bat, the biggest pro in my opinion is the graphics. It's hard to say that the game's functionality is really the big draw. It's been the draw to Diablo II for the past 20 years. It's what has set itself apart from other games for 2 decades, so what sets Resurrected apart from Diablo II Classic, and why would you play it over the Classic? Well, they say you eat with your eyes before anything else. It's a sensory thing, and in a video game that you'll be staring at for hours on end, it's really tough to say that the graphics take a backseat to anything else that this game provides. The big draw to Diablo II over its later iterations, and some even argue the same thing over the upcoming Diablo IV, whenever it decides to release, is the gritty, dark atmosphere. And while some would argue that Diablo 1 even surpassed Diablo 2 in this regard, Resurrected turns the darkness dial to 11 with warm, dynamic lighting, which creates more shadows and diminishes the light radii to give an even more closed-off feeling. Character designs. But sometimes graphic changes aren't all they're cracked up to be. Sometimes you get too ambitious and you go overboard with polishing things. Take for instance the new character designs. Yes, the armor and unique gear appearances look pretty awesome, but you really can't deny that the new look of the characters is more than a bit jarring. The aged up Amazon, the Asian assassin, Baptista the Barbarian.
No, Trent! Wait a minute!
They moved quite a bit away from the original designs. Even AI compilations have pumped out designs that are well different from what Vicarious Vision put out for us to see at BlizzConline. I mean, do they really think we can't handle a little sorceress underbust? Now, I've heard that Vicarious Visions is addressing these concerns, so we'll see what comes of it. But for a game that boasted close adherence to the original, they really put off the community with that move. Cross progression. Speaking of graphics, how long have you been playing Diablo 2? 1, 2, 20 years? How many characters do you have offline? All those years, tons of work and time put into all your characters, farming gear, balancing build. Would it be a shame if a remaster came about and alienated you from that legacy? Well, thankfully the folks at Vicarious Visions have taken this into consideration, and while seemingly unintentionally, considering they announced that the 2 games were completely separate and then subsequently tested the theory and found out otherwise, you apparently are able to bring your offline characters from Diablo II Classic to Resurrected, upgrading them to that new graphical goodness. This is even better news for players on multiple platforms, because another awesome feature that's coming with the remaster is the ability to bring your characters to any platform you're playing the game on. So not only can you transfer new characters between platforms, but even your old characters as well. Crossplay. But with all that cross-platforming with progression, how come they haven't figured out cross-play? Currently, there are so many conflicting pieces of information, some of which claiming that cross-play will be completely absent from the game, and some that hint on the possibility of its presence. It would truly serve as a unifying aspect to be allowed console players and PC players to join as one, and not such a far-fetched accomplishment considering that both PC and console have controller support. So by the time the game releases and they figure out control schemes for both combat and world interaction, it shouldn't be too far flung to imagine being able to play together across platforms. The idea is to bring the community together, a tremendous benefit. Region unlocked. Crossplay may still be up in the air, but at the very least they unlocked region play. In Diablo II Classic, you could absolutely change the region server you logged into if you wanted to play with a friend across the world. But now all servers will be joining to one. It doesn't matter if they're in the States, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, South America, anywhere.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
Play with who you want, when you want, and with cross progression from wherever you want. stamina bar. Now, with all that running around, they left in that pesky stamina bar. I know a lot of players really enjoyed the stamina bar, claiming it added to the game's realism, but let's be honest, at a certain point in the game, it honestly becomes an obsolete facet to have to micromanage, and not even at in-game points. By the time you hit level 15 or so, you have put a good amount of points into Vitality. You'll have enough stamina to last you the in-between moments without having to take long periods to rest. Honestly, it's a temporary inconvenience at best and can be done away with entirely. Leaving it in-game serves the purpose of being purely for the nostalgia of the original. Shared stash. In a game where you have the ability to have multiple characters with randomly rolled gear dropping that may or may not benefit the tune you're currently playing, it's extremely frustrating to not be able to transfer that item over to another character. For years, players have used mules or other players to move items, but that really only benefits online characters. The addition of a shared stash changes the game entirely. Now you can move gear between alts safely and easily, and you don't have to play an online character if you're the type of player who likes to remain offline, which is entirely understandable. Catering benefits to all playstyles is quite refreshing. Slightly modified stash size. But did they really have to give this pseudo slightly modified stash size? The 10x10 stash present in Resurrected is only slightly larger than the original. Now, true, they've given us the shared stash slots, which gives us an additional set of options to stash our gear, but they could have given us something more akin to what we've seen in Diablo II mods like Project Diablo II and Median XL, which gives us even more options with a greater stash, especially if, say, someone has a bit of a penchant for hoarding gear that they think looks good or wants a variety of gear for various bonuses, and typically we run out of space fast. I'm not going to say that's me, but it's definitely me. It would have been a nice gesture. Same Diablo II. Diablo II Resurrected is a fantastic effort on the part of Vicarious Visions, and it shows. But if players don't like much of the new changes, they don't have to utilize them. All of what was available to you in D2 Classic is available to you now, with several toggleable quality of life changes. Even the graphics themselves can be turned off and on, because all it really is a reskin playing over the original game. Everything that is present within the original feel of the game is present in Resurrected. It is a true homage to the love of a game that we've held for 2 decades. Same Diablo II. Indeed, it's good to not insult the fans of the original by changing a game up entirely in a remake, but certain liberties should be thought about. This remake is so close to the original that they didn't even take the time to rework abilities or add any new ones, just reskin them. Which, honestly, isn't exactly what you would call a problem. Of course, let's be honest, the Bone Spear looks a heck of a lot better than what they did in Diablo III, which looks like an actual bone spear instead of the ethereal one, which fits the portfolio of Trag'Oul, the ethereal dragon. There has even been whispers about the potential to add new classes so long as they're not lore-breaking, which of course I appreciate. It would be good to see some new classes built upon, but the likelihood of this hangs in the balance. But what are your thoughts on the matter? Is the strict adherence to what was present in Diablo II Classic a good move, or do you think that there's some seriously missed opportunity in taking things in a slightly different route? Remakes are always a tricky prospect, but if what we've seen with projects like Final Fantasy VII Remake, sometimes embellishment and minor alterations can add to the overall production. You know, just as long as they don't go completely Tetsu on us. But maybe that is worth a look at some point in the future, no? But that's going to do it for the video. If you're still with us, please consider taking a moment to hit the video with a like. It really helps the channel and gets more content out to others as suggested videos. So help spread the lore of the franchises you love and come join the discussion on Discord. We're nearing 600 members as of this recording, and we'll be fielding a Diablo 4 as well as a Diablo 2 Resurrected clan when the games launch. Join a supportive lore-centric group and celebrate with us. And as always, thanks for watching. Until next time, Traveler.